Okay, I think I'm live now. Sorry about that delay. Just making sure everything is working. That's not working. Um, Sorry for the late start, folks. I don't think I can get my other camera working just yet. Okay, I think I'm
There
live
it
now.
is.
Sorry about that. Sorry about the late start, folks. I'm still trying to get this to work. Good morning, Reverend Robert Ugen Doshin Yamada here. Welcome to the Animal Liberation Temple, Dobutsu Kaoji, where we are at the service of the spiritual and physical liberation of our dear animal friends. We'd like to begin by acknowledging that the land on which we gather is the ancestral and seized land of the Yokut, Karkin, Confederate villages of the Lisha, Ohlone, Miwok, and Miwokma people. We recognize them, the legacy of violence, settlement, and displacement of these people who suffered and survived. Good morning, Pauline. Good morning, Wendy. Sorry for the delay this morning. Good morning, Tani and Martin. We are live streaming both on YouTube and Facebook right now, and I've had a little bit of technical difficulty. I still don't have my second camera going, so I'll have to see if I can fix that real quick afterwards. But let us get started with our temple updates. The weather up here has been really nice. It's been sunny, which is a really good thing because that means we don't have to run our generator. We are still running several fundraisers, trying to finish paying off our truck, as well as supplies have gotten a lot more expensive. Things like food and straw and hay, all those things, all the prices have gone up, and so that's really put a struggle on the temple. So we're continuing our fundraisers. I'm really grateful for those folks that were able to donate this last week. It's really been helpful, but we'll be continuing to run our fundraisers until we can kind of catch up on that. Also, another announcement, we have a lot of visitors this morning, so you may hear some background noise, which is great. I love the background noise, and I love having so many people join us here at the Animal Liberation Temple. But let's get started with some of our updates on our residents. We have, of course, all of our duck friends, Breve, Greve, Amanda, and Renee, who are all doing really good. Lucy and Bernard, who are in the temple, in and out, because they are really excited to have so many human folks to interact with. They definitely miss that, so they're really happy this morning. Our goats down the hill, Rob, Matt, and Phil, I saw them yesterday. They're doing super good. We have our tortoise friend, Miyachi, who's doing really well, eating a lot, also causing some of the more extreme food costs is being able to support Miyachi's diet as he's eating a lot more. During the winter, tortoises really slow down their eating. And in fact, I can't, the produce that I buy, even a small quantity, goes bad before he'll even eat it all. But during the summer, I can't buy enough. And he's just eating a ton, which is so good. I love that Miyachi's eating so much food. Really healthy tortoise. I'm really thankful for that. And then we have our turkey friends, Priya and Harriet, who are doing really well. Really getting up there in age. Priya and Harriet are both about 7 years old now, which is phenomenal for turkeys rescued from factory farms. Tend to live, 3 to 4 years is what we usually see. So to have turkeys who are about 7 years old is really beautiful. Then we have our all of our Cornish chickens. There's Jax, Jimmy, and Edward, who are the roosters. They're all doing really well. And then, of course, we have all our Cornish hens, Poppy, Aster, Ivy, Azalea, Peony, Cynthia, Lotus, Magnolia, Sage, Marigold, Camilla, Hydrangea, Holly, and Zinnia. And then we have our other red hens, who are Glennis, Gwen, Alice, Rebel, and Mariah. They're all doing really well. Our other rooster friends, Sabrina, May, Hardwon, Elton, Magnus, George, Brad, and Kudu are all doing really well. Our guinea fowl friend, Wendy's doing phenomenal. Of course, we have inside the house our mourning dove, Sequoia. Our rat friend, Hasu's doing really well. Also getting up there in age, about maybe 2.5 years old now. And again, for rats that are rescued from laboratories, that is a really good age for a lab rat. Hasu's doing really well. Definitely can see him getting up there in age, sleeping a lot more. And then of course we have all of our pigeon friends who are FP, Champagne, Tulin, Sasha, Yo-Yo, Petey, Ricky, Spreckle, Spencers, Shambles, Beluga, Beth, Pee-wee, Cascade, Augustus, Rufus, Harper, Elliot, Snickers, Boba, Kismet, Farah, Angus, Pandora, Jones, Sin, Lago, Fred, Chamanto, Halo, Vin, Capone, Percy, Pacino, Lacey, Sasha the Second, Dora, and Endora, all doing really well. And then of course we have 3 foster ducks who are all doing really well also. Alright, so those are all the updates on all of our residents here. Every week we like to talk about each individual resident. There's a lot here. It's about 84 was my last count. I might be off on that a little bit just because we always have residents coming and going. We do a lot of fostering and quarantine work here since we have a quarantine building. Sometimes we'll quarantine chickens that are going to go off to other sanctuaries. So our numbers are always fluctuating in that way. Just want to check our comments, make sure I'm not missing anything. I'd like to say Happy Easter for those folks who do celebrate that holiday, and for those who don't, just a happy Sunday to you. Thank you all for joining us here live. It's really wonderful that you folks are able to do that. It really helps us get our message out there and continue our important work here. But we'll get started with the recitation of all the prayers and sutras and vows to our dear animal friends. These prayers are of great auspicious benefit to all who hear these prayers, and we ask that you have your companion animals nearby, or maybe be in a place where our wild animal friends can hear these prayers intended for them, even our dear insect friends. And we'll get started starting on page 4 for those of you who have the Animal Liberation Temple prayer book. With the recitation of the Great Heart of Wisdom Sutra recited in Japanese. Maka hanya haramita shenyo kanji zai bosatsu gyojin hanya haramita jiso kengo onkai kodo isei kuyaku shari shishiki fuku kufu ishiki shiki zoku ze kuku zoku ze shiki ju so gyo shiki yaku bunya ze shari shi ze shoho fuso fusho fumetsu fuku furyo fuzo fugen ze koku tru mu shiki mu ju so gyo shiki mugen ni bizet ni mu shiki shoko bi soku ho mugen gai nai shi mu i shiki gai mu mu myo yaku mu mu myo jin nai shi mu ro shi yaku mu ro shi jin watsu shu watsu gyate gyate hara gyate hara so gyate bodhi sawaka anya shingyo nego waku wa kono kudoko mote amaneku isai ni yoyoboshi warira toshida tomina tomono butsudo animal liberation no jozen koto jiho sanshi fushi son bosa fushi son bosa mokosa moko hoja horo mi. Before I forget, I wanted to make sure that today's services, prayers and vows, mantras, and today's entire services are dedicated to the my dear mice friend, all the little babies that were being taken care of by Beck. I believe that many of them have passed away recently. Beck has been doing a lot of care for them to make sure that they got the best possible chance at survival. However, they were very tiny newborn mice who don't have a great shot when their mother had passed away. But one of them, I believe, is still surviving, and she's doing her best to keep them alive. I always think that it's really important that we at least try to help those in need when we can. And Beck was doing an amazing job at taking care of them. Unfortunately, many of them have passed away now. But they experience love and care and compassion in their small moment of time on this earth. So let us remember them during some of our prayers. We'll now recite the refuge prayer in Tibetan and in English, page 8. Sangye chodam tsuki chonam la chanju partuk teknik gyab suchi Daki jinsu ki pe sonam ki drola pendra sangye ju parsho. The Buddha, Dharma, and excellent assembly of the Sangha. Until I attain enlightenment, in these I take refuge. By my practice of the 6 perfections, may all sentient beings attain the state of Buddhahood. We now recite the 4 great Bodhisattva vows, Shigi Seigan, page 9. Shujo Muhen Segando Bono Mujin Segandan Omon Muryo Seganga Wotsudo Mujo Seganjo. However numerous sentient beings, I vow to enlighten them all. However inexhaustible my delusions, I vow to extinguish them all. However immeasurable the dharmas, I vow to master them all. However endless the enlightened way, I vow to follow it fully. We now recite the 6 vows to our dear animal friends, page 10. However numerous my dear animal friends, I vow to liberate them all. However diverse the methods of animal liberation, I vow to support them all. However unheard their voices, I vow to speak out for them all. However painful and inexhaustible the method of suffering, I vow to bear witness to them all. However infinite the cages and tanks, I vow to empty them all. However difficult animal liberation, I vow to achieve it completely. We now recite the Vajrasattva purification mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Nupalaya Vajrasattva Te Nopachisa Trito Me Bhava Sito Sho Me Bhava Sipo Sho Me Bhava Anorato Me Bhava Sarva Sita Me Prayacha Dava Karma Sita Me Chicham Shriyam Kuru Hom Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Dava Tathagata Vajrama Me Mitra Vajri Bhava Mahasamamya Safaha. Happy anniversary to my mother and Marty, who are celebrating 13 years since they were married. I think that's wonderful, beautiful. I'm so happy for Marty and my mother. Good morning, Susan. So good to see you here on our Facebook Live. I really appreciate the comments and folks tuning in live. So today's topic is something actually I've been thinking about all week, and then surprisingly someone reached out and also wanted me to talk about something that has been really going through my mind a lot recently. So it kind of just worked out to be something that is really important to talk about. And honestly, it's probably something I haven't figured out the perfect answer for, or have maybe even not even have the perfect advice here. But whenever I'm confronted with this issue, which I am often, I'm reminded of a famous Zen story that I'd like to share, and then I'd like to kind of expand on that and how I think that might be important to the situation that I think a lot of folks find themselves into sporadically throughout their activism and throughout their just their normal life and interactions. There's this Zen story that there was this really renowned Zen master in this kind of like a small town. And I say the town is small because like a lot of folks knew each other, and it was a very close community, and kind of people knew what was going on in the community. And there's always the idea of like gossip that happens, and there's always the idea of like everybody knows everybody, and it's a very close community. And this Zen master was really renowned, and a lot of folks looked up to him and sought advice from him. And really admired his skill, really admired his upstandedness. And there's this one day this young woman was involved with the grocer's son. And because this young woman was from a different class, she probably wasn't supposed to be involved with this young man. And so there's a lot of issues already with that about, class mixing and things like that. That's pretty harmful. And maybe that's where the problems began. But however, she became pregnant, and rather than say who was actually the actual father, she was so afraid of what her family would think about her that she said, actually, it was the priest who got me pregnant. And the entire town became so angry and so upset that this person we looked up to could do such a horrible, terrible thing. and went and the whole town got together and went to the priest and said, how could you do something like this? How could you defile my daughter? How could you have gotten, how could you have done this terrible thing? Of course, this was a lie, and he knew it was a lie. And his response really was just, is that so? Really not saying that's, I didn't do it, not saying I did do it, just saying, is that so? Hoping that folks would reflect on it. And there was so much anger that there was no way anybody was going to reflect on what the monk had to say. And all he said was, that so? So the young daughter eventually had her baby, and they were so upset about the situation that they just took that baby and brought it to the priest and said, now it's your responsibility. You take care of him. And the monk's response was just, is that so? Well, the monk took care of this young child and brought him up and cared for him and made sure he was fed. And very difficult thing to do because the whole city had already turned against him. So very difficult to earn money, very difficult to take on the care of this child while he had no support of his community. But he continued to do it anyway and worked really hard and was very successful at caring for this young child. And eventually the lie that the young woman had told started to eat at her and get at her and became really upset. And the father of this baby also, the guilt started to weigh in on them. And they went to the town and admitted what had happened, what the truth was and what the reality of the situation was. And the entire town felt horrible and so upset about what happened that they went to the monk and just apologized and said, we had no idea, we're so sorry, we had no idea what the reality is, and we treated you so poorly, and we want to make this up to you. And the priest's response was just, is that so? And this Zen story, I think it's titled, Is That So? And I think there's a few lessons that we can take from it. One is this lesson of, this short reply, is that so? It's just recognizing that, something is happening and maybe folks should reflect on it. And realizing that often folks don't reflect on the situation and will quickly react with just pure emotion at the situation, become very angry, or become, very upset, or when they find out the truth, become extremely apologetic. But the monk in this story maintained a is that so approach to these situations, rather than respond in anger or defensiveness or responding in, that the truth must get out, right? Sometimes we think that we must always tell the truth. We must, hold strong to this idea. And sometimes, when the whole town's angry at you, the truth is not going to be helpful, and that possibly the truth will come out later. For the moment, we need to be, is that so? And that's just a response. But I think what's important to look at in this story is the actions that this monk took. He did not shift the blame to the woman who lied in this story. He did not shift the blame to the father in this story who, also went along with this lie. He didn't shift the blame to the community that blamed him for this lie. Instead, he took action where it was the most important, and the moment it was taking care of this child. In the moment, that was the most important thing. It wasn't actually the truth. It wasn't actually the making sure that maybe we should question the idea of class, and that these two people should be able to love each other. That is important. But instead, in the moment, what was the most important thing is that there was this child that needed care, and it was going to be difficult. And if he didn't step up in that moment to take care of this child, it would resulted in the worst possible thing, where this child's actually not getting the care, where that often that we see in these kind of stories, they're you know given up to you know live a poor life, or given up to other family members to be taken care of poorly. But instead, what this monk did was take on that responsibility, even responsibility that wasn't his. He took on that responsibility anyway, and did what was the most important in the moment. And so I think that when we encounter the world in our daily life, we find that we have friends, we have groups of friends, we have organizations that we work with. We, maybe work for a company that is not so ethical. We may find ourselves in situations where we are interacting with even individuals who are not acting in the most ethical, responsible ways. And I agree that maybe we should distance ourselves from unethical behavior, but recognizing in the moment actions should be taken. In the moment, we should try to do our best to be the most ethical ourselves, and to care for one another in the moment. Buddhism often teaches ourselves, like, the point of meditation is to be able to be in the moment, to be able to react to the moment in the moment, and not really think about what had happened in the past and what may happen in the future, but to simply take action in that moment. I think there's a lot of us who can relate to this idea of taking action in the moment. Many of us had the opportunity maybe to save an animal that's in distress, whether that be like a dog in a hot car, and we break that window immediately to get them out. We're just thinking about, in that moment, what is the best care that we can give, what is the most ethical thing to do in the moment. If we think about what happened in the past, we're like, oh, we should go after this person who did this action and who put this dog in danger, and like that happened in the past. And we can think about, we're so angry at people who leave hot dogs in the cars, or leave dogs in hot cars. We can be really upset about the past, and paralyze ourselves and do nothing. Or we can think about what's going to happen in the future. I'm going to break this window. I'm going to, get a ticket, or maybe even go to, be charged with vandalism. Maybe they'll think I'm stealing the car, and now have a felony of grand theft, right? And so we can paralyze ourselves by thinking about what happens in the future. Meanwhile, there's actually an individual who's suffering right now in that moment, and what we need to do is take action in this moment as we see it happening. And Buddhism tries to teach us through meditation to be able to act in the moment, that is what is really most important. If this monk looked at what was happening, he easily can be caught up and blame, the community for thinking so poorly of him. He can easily think about, like, how am I going to eat? How am I going to survive if I have to take in another, if I have to take in a child and care for them? How am I going to survive? What am I going to do? The whole town is turned against me. There's no way I can take care of this child. I need to give up. But rather, what he did was act in the moment, care for this child. That was what was the most needed. It wasn't, the past of what he's being blamed for, and it wasn't the future of how he was going to, survive. But it was, what's the most important thing I can do in this moment. So I think that we should try to approach our lives like that. Yes, we should, surround ourselves with like-minded people. We should surround ourselves with folks who maybe agree with our own ideologies. Um, but at the end of it, we also have to be ready to take action um, for who is maybe the most vulnerable in that particular moment. Um, and I think that's something I would like folks to think about as they, start to see things unfold around them. Um, the practice is, if I was there, what would I have done in that moment? Um, and see if you can get yourselves to not think about past actions and not to think about future actions and what would I do in that exact moment? How would I behave? Um, what uh, what righteous road would I take, and is it being true um, to what is needed in the moment? I hope that makes sense for some folks. I hope that you know something people can reflect on. And I'm also always open to hearing more, maybe understanding everybody's individual circumstances. I'm also open to even changing my own mind, and I think that's another important skill that we all try to cultivate, is how to do better and how to be open to criticism. I do think that criticism is important to hear and listen to, but understanding sometimes in the moment it may be, is that so? Okay. We will conclude today's services with the recitation of the um, Animal Liberation Prayer and the dedication of merit. I don't know if I'm going to get my second camera to work. I can give it a try, but I've been having issues with it this morning and I couldn't get it to actually broadcast this morning. If I take a look at my, yeah, you can see for some reason there's no video input on it. So we'll recite the Animal Liberation Prayer, page 12, 13, and 14. May all sentient beings, especially our dear animal friends who are subject to unbearable pain in labs throughout the world, be free of all suffering. May alternatives to animal experimentation, vivisection, and dissection be implemented immediately. May bodhicitta, the quality of compassion that leads to enlightenment, fill the hearts of those who imprison them. May all sentient beings, especially our dear animal friends who suffer endless days, months, and years, locked in tiny cages and unable to move, be filled with peace and calm. May all sentient beings, especially our dear animal friends who are forcibly taken from their families, be reunited, and may all families be able to stay together. May the hearts of those who work in slaughterhouses, factory farms, and all industries that exploit our dear animal friends be filled with bodhicitta, so the very thought of harm is purified. May they never kill again, and may the slaughterhouse lines, factory farms, and all industries that exploit our dear animal friends become immediately empty. May no animal be afraid or depressed. May their bodies be free of injuries, disease, and illness. May the mutilation of their bodies be forever ceased. May those who need homes or have been driven from them find shelter, plentiful food, and water. May there be liberation for those tortured for fur, entertainment, or who are hunted. May those who believe that they are superior to our brother and sister animals develop perfect equanimity, and may they realize in their hearts that all sentient beings possess Buddha nature, the potential to be completely free of suffering, and that they are not ours to kill or exploit. May the billions of land and sea-dwelling sentient beings who are abused, exploited, and killed due to greed, hatred, and ignorance be free of suffering. May all the nets, hooks, blades, projectiles, traps, snares, cages, pens, tanks, lethal restraints, saddles, reins, prods, bait, poison, and all instruments used to harm, exploit, and dominate our dear animal friends be forever abolished. May all human and non-human sentient beings live together in harmony, peace, equanimity, and achieve perfect enlightenment quickly. May we all experience happiness, safety, freedom, and animal liberation in this very lifetime. And we now recite the dedication of merit, page 16. Throughout our many lives and until this moment, whatever virtue we have accomplished, including this aspiration for peace, and all that we will ever attain, this we offer for the benefit of all sentient beings, especially our dear animal friends. May suffering, exploitation, and unnecessary death decrease for every being, while wisdom, bliss, and compassion increase in this and every future life. May we clearly and instantly perceive the plight of our dear animal friends with the urgency and seriousness they deserve, and our every action leads them to complete liberation. May we quickly attain enlightenment and work ceaselessly for the liberation of all sentient beings. One second while I see if I can get my other camera to work. Maybe, maybe not. I think what the problem is my power supply. The button is kind of not working correctly. Alright. Looked like it came on. Should do is automatically turn into a wireless webcam, but it is not doing it, which means we have other issues. So unfortunately I won't be able to do a tour this week until I can figure out this problem. It is something we always are struggling with, is technology here. So hopefully what will happen is I'll be able to get a lot of other videos and photos this week to go along with our fundraisers, and folks can just really pay attention to our social medias and share and like those, which are super helpful. But we will have our credits reel here so I can properly thank folks who have been able to donate. So I'd like to thank all the wonderful folks who have contributed to our Dear Animal residence of the Animal Liberation Temple from the 29th of March to the 4th of May. Thank you to everyone who's been liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing to our social media. Thank you to all our Venmo donors, Tani Salazar, Vanessa Ka, Charity Khan, Remy Marine, and Priscilla Brown. Our PayPal donors, Ryan Pickett, Conrad De Jesus, and Lama Tachi Nima. Thank you so much. And then our Patreon supporters, Susan Fryman, Neil Carmen, Paulina Bradford, Paula Partenheimer, Shannon Hunter, and MV. Thank you so much. And if you'd like to, please consider donating through any of our platforms that can be found on Linktree Animal Liberation Temple. I really appreciate all that. And thank you all for joining us for our services for Dear Animal Friends, and everybody have a beautiful week. Thank you.